Hi folks, Spa has just dropped for Rfactor 2. Let's download it. 1.4 gigs, reasonably sized download.
Hi folks, okay, here we are, many hours later, nearly 3 in the afternoon now after loads of technical difficulties, but we're finally into Rfactor 2 to test the new Spa from Studio 397. So here is our track, the new Spa. We're going to be using an Aston Martin GT3. We're going to fill up the field with GT3s and use the maximum amount of AI possible. I've got it set to 59 here, but the track will only take 38, so that is what it was that is what it's going to auto load. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering how well this track runs. So graphically, so what we're going to do is we're going to run everything on pretty much full settings or max or ultra, apart from shadows and car detail. I've just knocked them down from full to high. If you're running it on a reasonable card, like I'm on a 2070 RTX Super here, and with many cars on track, the best thing to do is just knock the player detail down. You can leave everything else at pretty much full. Shadows don't really need to be on max ever, really, so that's a big thing. And this is a big thing if you're running a lot of cars. So you'll make a big improvement to your graphics if you just knock them down just to high. And they're going to look great. So we're going to be starting the race at 5 AM in the dark. We're going to be going through it times 60 on the time scale. So you're going to see it go from night to day. We're going to have rain just to really push the graphics out on this one over the course of 3 laps. So let's get in there and see how long the track takes to load. Now, we know Rfactor track times take a while, but I have already got over the initial loading process because we know that if a track is new for Rfactor, well, the first time it loads, it takes ages because it's got to build the shader files. So it hasn't loaded. This will be the normal loading time on a machine like mine. My machine specs you can see in the description below this video. So let's start the load. And just to give us a rough idea of how long this is going to take, let's see how far I can get through a 12-bar blues on my guitar, which I always keep beside the rig here whilst it's loading. Okay, so roughly just over 24 bars. So 24 bars of blues is how long it takes to load the track here in Rfactor 2. Excellent, so we're at Spa. Of course I'm excited about this. We all are. It's great to have this track in the game. And we're going to quickly just come out of the pits on a practice session whilst it's daylight in the game to see what our frames per second are like here. So here we are in our Aston. Most of the cars will be in the pits, so it's going to put a big strain on the graphics card. We know that if all the cars are in one place, it will stress out the graphics card. There they all are. Over to my left there, and we are at 50 frames per second around all the cars in the pits with everything on full apart from the car detail just turned down to high. So that's looking pretty good, and the track's looking pretty good. I've got to say, the textures on the ground there on the tarmac looking great. Let's just take the car as far as Eau Rouge and have a look at this grid straight. Lovely tyre marks there going off to the side, nice and subtly done. Beautiful. and we're sitting there at 96 frames per second. Now, do bear in mind that I am running at a resolution of 3440 by 1440 on an ultra wide screen. So that's quite a high resolution. I've got no V-Sync going on in the Nvidia settings or the game. I just have a frame. I'm on 100 Hz screen, so I have a frame cap of 97 frames per second. And I'm running no post-processing, but apart from that, I've got anti-aliasing on. Pretty much everything is on full. We're now in our qualifying session. Let's see what happens here. 73 frames per second. None of the cars are moving yet. Drop down to 53. Not surprising, really. Let's. There's the cars have started to move. Oh, I've just stalled. The poor old Corvette behind me didn't expect that. It's bumped straight into me. But we're at 54 frames per second in the pits. Not bad at all. Everything running smoothly. So I guess similar performance from what I'd expect at another demanding track somewhere like Le Mans. We're straight up to 83 frames per second. Up to 93, and we've hit the frame limit, which is 97. Brilliant. Okay, so let's see what it's like when we put it into a race situation. Now, do bear in mind, I have skipped through the qualifying and practice sessions. Don't do that because you'll get bad racing. I'm just doing that for the purposes of this video. But there are going to be crashes. The AI are going to behave badly, I'm expecting, because I've not let them. The best thing you can do is run the qualifying and practice sessions, and if you want to get through them quickly, just speed up the time. But you're not going to get good racing, really, if you just skip through them like I've done. But anyway, I think you get the point. Let's go to the race session. So, we're starting off with sunshine. We're starting off at about 6 in the morning, so it's going to be pretty dark. And that's quickly going to go through because we've got our timescale set to time 60. We're going to have a little bit of rain on track. Hopefully, we're going to see some of those God rays that have now been brought back into Rfactor 2. And the lighting on the sun has generally been improved as well. So, let's get out there and see what this track is like in all situations. Let's get our headlights on. We've got 49 frames per second on the grid. And we know that night graphics are difficult for graphics cards to take in Rfactor 2, but we are going up to 50-51 frames per second. You can see my frames per second counter in green. That's my Steam. I'm using the Steam frame counter in the top left corner of the screen. As we make it down the straight to a Rouge. Oh, and there's been problems already. This is not a test of how good the AIW files have been made, because, like I said, I just want to get this video out there so you can check the performance. You know, this should give you a rough idea of how it's running on my machine. The specs of my machine will be available in the description below this video. We are up to 68 frames per second. So this is kind of a performance test if you're thinking of buying this track. 73 frames per second. The highest we're going to hit is 97. Another problem there. Managed to avoid it. And cars going off all over the place. Like I said, really don't run qualifying and practice sessions at all. If you're going to go straight into a race, just set it to race session, because if you include practice and qualifying sessions, then don't let them do it. They will misbehave. Okay, so we're seeing some of the night lighting as the first bit of sunshine comes over the trees there. Now the transition is going to look a little bit unrealistic because we are at 60 times the normal 24-hour cycle, so time is moving very fast. So you're going to see some slightly dodgy transitions. Remember, we've got 38 cars on track, including me. It's a really good test of the graphics. So far, everything's silky smooth. Track's looking great. Some of the lighting's still on there. And we've got a bit of rain, and there's the sun. Peeking over the clouds there. Few rays coming off that. Very nice. Been loving looking at that in VR through Notch Life. I might do a VR test on this track as well, see how well it runs in VR. And I need to think about turning my wipers on. Oh, brake for the chicane before we come up to La Source. See the reflections of the glass of the pits there, the pit buildings. See, now these cars are on, I've knocked them down from full detail to high. You can barely notice the difference. So if you want to run loads of cars, just knock down your detail a bit. And they still look great. Oh! Having a bit of a slide for a rouge there. I am on slick tyres. And there has just been a bit of rain. Let's try and see how much. Take my eyes off my driving for a second. 6% of rain on the track. Not a lot, but slicks with a bit of rain. Should have accounted that. And cold tyres as well. I thought I'd stay on slicks because I knew I hadn't set the rain for too long. Shadows working nicely there. Sun is hitting all the trackside objects. Oh, close pass from a Corvette there. And I want to try and look up to my left on this straight and see the frame counter. 96 frames per second, 97. We're at full pelt. The foliage around this track is looking great as well. Some long shadows from the trees there. I'm feeling, by the way, in terms of what I can feel from this track, I'm feeling everything. The curb, the rumble strips. Obviously some of the curbs are more serrated than others. The track itself is very smooth. It is an FIA approved track, so you'd expect that, but I'm feeling the tarmac and every single tiny little undulation of this laser scan track. I'm feeling that little strip of grating there on the side of the track, everything. I'm going to try and just touch one of these sausage curbs here. Let's try and get this one. Oh, yeah, you can definitely feel that. I can feel the difference between the roughness of the tarmac on one side there and the smooth green stuff. Sun properly high in the sky now. One lap to go. Looking forward to doing, running the AI properly around here. I might video that as well. And there's some lovely solar reflections coming off of the roofs of the marquees there and some of the pit buildings, and the track reflections as well are looking pretty damn awesome. Out of the few little test runs I've had, I found that the track limits have been done very well. You can have your two wheels off the white line, but if you've got all four wheels off, it will penalise you, not just from the cutting of corners but also on those huge runoff areas. So don't be tempted to try and use the big runoffs to carry more speed through, because you will get penalties. Now, do I think it's worth your $8.99 of your English pounds? I don't know what that translates into for those of you in Europe and America and Australia, places like that. But roughly the same kind of value for all of us when you break it down. Is it worth it for for £9? Of course it is. I'd rather have one Rfactor laser scan track than 10 non-laser scan tracks in a lesser sim, I've got to say. I can turn my wipers off now. And I've cycled through them a bit too quickly and missed the stop point, but found it again. I can feel the grating of the you've got that mesh on the grass on the inside of the curb, and I just hit that and felt that. It's feeling superb. So fantastic to have this wonderful, famous track in Rfactor 2. It's one of my most raced tracks in GTR2, which was, of course, if you remember, that was built on the ISI engine, the G-Mounted 2 engine from the original Rfactor game. Oh! Did not expect that, folks! Did not expect that. Well, fun to go out on a bang. Let's say that. I will have to do another test with the AI running properly. I think I've lost my back wing there. There we go, so that's the end of the race. Let's just try and see what time of day we're looking at. So we're at just after midday, 1:30. Oh, look at that reflection coming off of the pit building there. Did you see that? That was a solar reflection. That's beautiful. I'm just going to drive round with my limping car now, just for another lap, to see if we can see any other interesting changes in the atmosphere. We now have a totally clear sky. We did have some clouds earlier on. Totally clear now. I just spot a helicopter. There he is, through the trees there. Nice touch. Nice touch. There is, of course, Studio 397. I've been watching their Discord channel this morning. They've got a competition which starts today. You can enter through their website to be part of a coming race for this track. You can go on there, sign up for their competition, go on their servers and put your hot laps down to see if you can get within the top tiers of drivers to be in that competition. With my driving, yeah, probably not going to be in that. Although I think I'm going to have a jump on the server and have a go at least. They may also, I don't know if they're thinking of it, but they might, I don't know, they might run an open server, just a casual one for people to jump in. I'm sure there are going to be loads of people just running this track, online and offline. Where are we at now? We're at 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, you see that grey, there we go, that grey, on the inside there, the grey mesh over the grass. You can really feel everything. Every detail of that. Everything on the curbs. Buildings are looking good there. Foliage looking lovely. So those lovely European firs there. Oh, mind you, Christmas, which is funny because it's not far off now, those trees. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I could hang around and drive this until it comes into the evening again. But I think you've seen enough to get a rough idea of how well the track runs. Just go past these pit buildings one more time. Is that a big TV screen behind us there? Yes, it is. Looking at some of the animated marshals as I went round the source there. Crowd are all static, but they look good, and you won't be seeing a lot of those. You've got the flags there, which are animated, and of course you've got those LED flags. You can see the one in front of me flashing, signaling the end of the race. Yeah, fantastic. Anyway, there's my brief little look at how well the new track performs, and that's with pretty much everything maxed out. Hope that's as useful to you folks. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel. Also look out for my Tarmac Terrace multi-class server when it's up in the multi-class, oh sorry, in the multiplayer server list. That's for all sorts of types of cars at the Nürburgring, you can literally jump on that server. You don't have to go around looking for mods and cars. It auto downloads everything, all free cars. The only thing you need to buy is Nordschleife, and you can go on there and race your mates in all sorts of different cars. Anyway, I'm off for further testing. Cheers very much, folks, for watching.